There's a lot of room over here on the left, your left side.
My friends on the left are about to give all the seniors these. So we'll pass these MBA caps out, and I'll start the program in just a couple of minutes. Hey, how are you? So I hope you've all gotten lunch and gotten your photo taken. This is a really nice occasion, and I hope one that you'll remember for many years. I frequently look at this bookshelf in our bedroom, and on that bookshelf is a picture of my wife and our son from this luncheon. So hope you have some really good memories of today, as well as obviously your whole time at MBA. There are a few details I need to go over. First, this is not a detail as much as it is a thank you. Mary Catherine McClellan and Gary Cowan are the chairs for today's event. They've done a great job. They're in the back there. Please join me in recognizing them. And secondly, they're good salespeople. So the flowers on your tables, if you'd like to purchase them for $10 a piece, they said they'd make great arrangements for any kind of parties you're having this week. So I'm passing on that information. Next, we had a graduation rehearsal a little bit ago, as you know, and here are a few highlights that I thought would be important for you to know. First, I practiced the names this week with a last name like Joya. I'm used to mispronouncing my name, but I try to get it right for your sons at graduation. If you think I should know something that you think I might not know, come tell me. Your sons, several of them came up afterwards, and I checked with the four I had questions about, so I think we're set for that. Next, both tomorrow night for the honors convocation and for commencement, the seniors are expected to be here at 6 p.m. Both programs begin at 6:30 p.m. and both programs last approximately an hour and a half. So I want you to know that time for your own planning. We have not had to resort to graduation tickets, and we've operated on an honor policy of letting people reserve seats beginning at 4:30 on Thursday afternoon. So if you want to do that, that's the time to be here. The project graduation program begins at 10:30 in the dining hall. This is a move to that location this year, and I actually think it's a really good move because your sons' names are up on the glass right now. I also told them to make sure they behave the next several days. So we want those names and these memories to be great things that stay there positively and permanently. I think most of you know Eddie George is the speaker on commencement evening. And on the tables over to the right, my right, are a couple of things that you should know about and pick up. First, gifts from the Mothers Club, a picture frame, and an MBA mug. So please pick them up at the end of this event. Secondly, we have a copy of the letter you wrote when you first entered MBA about your hopes and expectations. So it'd be fun for you to see what you said a number of years ago as opposed to what's happened. I think, Andrew, did you pass those out? Okay, great. I think that's all I have to say right now. Now I'd like for three seniors to come up in this order. First Hudson, then Turner, then Hayden. We're going to have some comments from these three seniors, Hudson, Turner, and Hayden. Join me in welcoming first Hudson to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. And for all the moms who don't know me, my name is Hudson Dobbs. My mother, Ann Dobbs, sitting right there. And she actually had no idea that I was going to do this today. I kept it a secret. I even told everybody in my family but her. And she found out like 10 minutes ago. And she's really nervous. She thinks I'm going to, I don't know, maybe say some bad things. But I'm not. I'm here to recognize her because she deserves some recognition. So, to be honest, I'm not the typical person who you'd expect to talk about my mom. However, after seeing 3 boys go through MBA, I feel that she deserves to be recognized. 3 boys, each one 2 years older than the next. Yep, that's 10 years of MBA. Yes, 10 years. Let me put that into perspective. 3,650 days. 87,600 hours. 5,256,000 minutes. And 315,360,000 seconds. Yeah. And this clock's going to keep running until I graduate in 2 days. So my point is, my mom has been a member of the MEA community for a long time. And I'm sure that there are other moms out there who have been part of this community for just as long, if not longer. However, I think that to go through 10 mother-son breakfasts, 3 mother-son luncheons, and 3 graduations without being spoke about once, I don't know. I think that she deserves the gratitude. So with that being said, I just want to tell you guys how I got here today. So back earlier in the year, I thought about doing the father-son breakfast. And I thought about going to tell Mr. Joy that I had the desire to speak because I feel like I've always had the desire to speak at one of these events. So it was like a thought in my mind. I ran it by like a few guys like in the student center one day, and then I was just like, yeah. So I didn't end up doing that. I guess I didn't feel passionately enough about Dad, you know, Mom? And then after that, once the mother-son breakfast came around, I was like, the idea popped in my head. I was like, I really want to do this for Mom. I really want to recognize her. She deserves it. And so I was thinking about it, but then it like just kind of passed. And then one night at the 50 Days picnic, I ran into Jody Johnson, and he was like, I ran it by him. I was like, what do you think of this idea? He was like, that's awesome. You should totally do it. And he was like, I'll put in a good word for you. He really encouraged me to do it. So I sent an email to Mr. Joya, asked him if I told him about my desire to do this. So he asked me to come by his office. Unfortunately, I'd asked to do this at the mother-son breakfast, but unfortunately, he had already asked the people that were going to do it. So he offered for me to do this today. So here I am. So back to Ann Dobbs. So first I want to say that this year, every single morning, that woman has made me breakfast every morning. And I could end the speech on that because that's huge. That is amazing. I love it. And also, when she goes out of town, our family absolutely falls apart. I wrote, the house is a mess. Everyone forgets things they're supposed to do. People lock themselves out of the house. All the cars break down. And my dad becomes stressed out of his mind. He's a different person. Then the moment she gets back, like magic, everything's better. So here are a few words that I think best describe my mother. Kind, gentle, loving, sympathetic, hardworking, passionate, affectionate, faithful, and reliable. But the weirdest thing about my mom is her flaws aren't even bad. It's just that they're the highest degrees of her best qualities. So here's a few examples. Many times she's what I call an over-helper. So here's an example. I'll be sitting on the couch, you know, just being lazy like I am, and I'll be like sitting there and my mom will be like, so Hudson, do you want some lunch? And I'll be like, yeah. She's like, okay. I was like, what do we got? She's like, oh, we got this in the refrigerator. And I was like, okay. So leftovers from last night. And I'm like, all right, that sounds great. 10 seconds later, oh, I also got this. I was like, nah, I just want the first thing. She's like, okay. 10 seconds later, oh, Hudson, I've got a great idea. How about I make you some blah, 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 blah. And I said, Mom, it's okay, I just want the first thing. But here's the good thing about that. But this just shows her love for me and how much she wants me to be happy. She wants to please me. And for that, I'm really grateful. Secondly, she's one of the most gullible people I've ever met. This is a funny example. I have this made-up friend named Julius that I often joke about with my mom. So I'll come downstairs and I'll just want to mess with my mom. So I'll say, Mom, Julius is coming over to do homework with me. She's like, oh, okay. She's like, do you want me to make you guys some food? You want me to do something? No, it's okay. And then I'll say, Mom, do you really think I still have a friend named Julius? I've told you like 10 times. There's no such thing as Julius. It's just one of those weird things I do. And then with that, I do something else that's really weird. Sometimes I'll come downstairs, I'll go, Mom, did you hear about what happened? She goes, no, what happened? She's like really surprised. I said, oh, never mind. She said, what? Did you hear what happened? She goes, what? What happened? I just don't reply. She said, what happened? For like the next time, what happened, Hudson? Mom, I just made that up. Nothing happened. But honestly, this just shows how much she trusts others. She really trusts my word, and maybe she doesn't have good reason to anymore. So finally, after about 8 o'clock, she enters this state of mind where her response to everything is, I'm done. And I'm not exaggerating. She works so hard during the day, though. I've even asked her, Mom, what do you mean you're done? For which she replied, I'm done. But let's be honest, she does so much for me and my family. I do not think I could last one day in her shoes. Seriously, whenever I do work around the house, it is so tiring. And not only does she do all the work around the house, but she works as a pastoral counselor too. So she's working during the day and she's doing things for all of us, errands for all of us. She's, managing my sister who's not old enough to drive yet. So she has so much on her plate. So I just wanted to end this speech by saying, Mom, you have done so much for me and everyone in our family. Without you, I would not be standing here today. I'm so grateful to have you in my life, and I don't say it enough, but I love you, Mom.
Good afternoon. Today I'll be speaking on behalf of my wonderful, beautiful mother, Julia Johnson. For years and years, my mom told me that I was speaking for her at the mother-son breakfast. It was never an option. I was gonna go up there, impress all the other mothers with my stories of how great my mom is, she would cry, and everyone would be happy. So when I told my mom I was not speaking at the mother-son breakfast, she said, okay, you know what, that's fine, I'll be all right, that's fine. You just write me a speech, and you can read it to me. So, here we go. Anyone who knows my mom knows how great she is. She is the true super mom, and she can do anything that she wants. I've always known my mom has had superpowers, but I didn't know the magnitude of her powers until I was in the 8th grade. In one summer, my mom worked a full-time job, took care of her 2 kids who couldn't drive, moved us out of a house into a rental house, all while my dad was in the hospital. I know that the stress she went through was terrible, and this heroic display of strength and bravery, along with many others, is the reason my mom is my superhero. But, just like Superman has kryptonite, my mom has a few weaknesses too. Her first weakness is cooking. Don't get me wrong, my mom is a great chef when she puts her mind to it. But since my dad does the majority of the cooking in the family, whenever my mom cooks, it's a sight to behold. I remember one time in particular. I personally have always loved the potato soup from Panera Bread, and so my mom thought it'd be a great idea to make some from scratch. She was working hard in the kitchen, boiling the potatoes, making the soup, and we hear the blender running, and she's making the soup, and all of a sudden, she screams. She goes, oh my God, I'm scarred for life, ah! And she screams, and my dad and I had no idea what to do. We just turn around, and she's in this kitchen screaming her head off, and we just laugh and laugh at her because she had no idea what she was doing in the kitchen. She thought that she was dying or something, and my dad and I just couldn't help but laugh. Another kryptonite of my mom's is interacting with me. Don't get me wrong, my mom and I talk all the time, and I love our conversations, but from time to time or in certain situations, my mom is not the best with words. Whenever I come home, she's always happy to see me and often asks me, hey, how was your day? Typical mom stuff. But she'll sometimes forget to have a normal conversation with someone, and she'll ask me, are you home? She asks me while I'm standing in the kitchen if I'm home. Personally, I don't know how to answer that question without being super sarcastic. Sometimes I answer with, yeah, Mom, I'm home. But sometimes I just have to take a second and stare around like, what? And another great example of my mom just forgetting how to interact with people is we were fishing as a family, and any time I'd start reeling in, she'd say, oh, Turner, what do you have? And how am I supposed to know? I can't see through the water, Mom. I'm sorry I don't have these superpowers. Now, Mom, I know I've made fun of you and possibly embarrassed you in front of your friends, but just be thankful I didn't talk about how much you cry. I could go on and on about how you cry at the smallest things, even how you started crying when you saw my name on the list of speakers today. But I won't get into that. Regardless of your quirks, Mom, I love you so much. You've done more for me than I can imagine, and I don't know what I'm going to do without you next year. No matter what happens, Mom, I'll always be your baby boy. I love you.
Good afternoon. My mom also did not know that I was speaking today, but when we were standing in line, I told her, and she freaked out a little bit. But every year at the mother-son breakfast, she tells me she wants me to speak, so be careful what you wish for, Mom. If you know my mom really well, you know that she never cries for anything, and she won't admit it, but it's true. And I think I've seen my mom cry 2 times in the past couple of years that I can remember. Once was when we dropped my brother off for college last year, and the other was when me and my dad and my mom had just eaten dinner at this hotel, and we were walking up the steps, and my mom kicked the step and chipped her toenail, and she had just gotten her nails done that day. So that was a big moment for me. Anyway, if I were to describe Devonna Walkler to somebody who had never met her in 3 words, I would use the words confident, loving, and patient. And when I say confident, I don't mean talking out loud or being obnoxious, because she's the opposite of that. I mean more calm and understated. And she has this inner confidence. And if there's one thing I've learned about my mom from my dad, is that you can never beat her in an argument, no matter what you're talking about. Even if it's about sports, which she doesn't know anything about, you'll always be wrong and she'll always be right. Secondly, loving. She's the most loving person I know, for my brother, my dad, and me, and especially for my grandfather, especially over the past couple of months. She's never missed any of my basketball games, which were a lot of them, and she was always there to talk to me about them afterwards, even when I didn't want to talk about them. Her love is selfless, kind, and I always love that about her. Lastly, patient. I use the word patient because it's one of the more underrated qualities about my mom. She understands others in situations without thinking of her and her needs first. And most of us think as our moms as somebody who we can talk to about anything, and that's what my mom is for me. And on behalf of all the seniors, I just want to say thank you to all the moms. And I know I don't say this enough, but I love you, Mom, and thanks for everything you do for me.
Thank you, Hayden and Turner and Hudson. So now the headmaster singers are going to come up, and they are going to sing the Beatles song, In My Life. Please join me in recognizing the headmaster singers.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall some are dead and some are living. In my life, I love them all. destruction, for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Each year, the seniors recognize 2 faculty members at this occasion, and I am also pleased to recognize them. First, David Brown. David, if you'd please come up. David, for those of you that don't know David well, came to MBA after a great teaching career in Dixon, and he arrived here in 1996 and has taught history in our junior school, and he has coached football and also coached some wrestling. But he has been a mainstay and a source of strength to many of us at MBA. And I, as I said, am very pleased and very grateful to recognize David Brown. Join me in recognizing him as well. So the next person arrived here, our next honoree, in 1976. A little bit of interruption, but has been part of MBA for that period of time. B.D. O'Connell. So she's going to come up on my right here. I should have said David has a son who graduated from MBA, Luke, and B.D. has 2 sons who graduated, Freddie and Sam. B.D. has been fluid in her teaching in terms of beginning with English and Spanish and French, and then teaching primarily French for most of her tenure at MBA. And then a few years ago, came to me and we adjusted her schedule slightly, and she started teaching English in the junior school at the 7th grade level. And it's been wonderful to have her focus on teaching the fundamentals of English structure and grammar in our 7th grade. So she has been another great part of MBA for all these years. You can count them as well. And we are thankful to her and her family. So please join me in recognizing Bea.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great to recognize you again. It's important in any culture to have people be part of that community, both while they're here in important ways and afterwards. And we've been fortunate to keep Jon Neergaard, who taught chemistry for many years at MBA, to continue to be part of this community by coming to occasions like this one, as well as to assembly once a year to perform. And I think you'll love hearing his music. I know the students will again, and I think you will as moms. Join me in thanking Jon for being back here. Dr. Jon Neergaard.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Ah. There it is. She loves to talk, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, and I love to listen. Sometimes she runs down, she runs down, she runs down, she runs down, and I'll slip in a word. like priming a pump, winding a watch, charging a battery, nudging your jello. She's fully restored, for she loves to talk, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, and I love to listen. Sometimes I worry that I am not holding up my end of the conversation. When she looks at me, she looks at me, she looks at me, she looks at me, and says, "What do you think?" I've got squirrels in the attic, I don't know what to do. Do you think it's a problem? Like priming a pump, winding a watch, charging a battery, nudging your jello. She's fully restored, for she loves to talk, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, and I love to listen. Yeah, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, she loves to talk, and I love to listen, I love to listen, I love to listen. Thank you. Johnny Kincaid and Captain Jack Sparrow have one thing in common. Neither one of them are actual pirates. Johnny Kincaid was a pirate bold who sailed the seas in search of gold. An orphan boy, the sea was home, across the oceans he did roam. He'd never be caught, young Johnny would boast. From blue Barbados to the Ivory Coast, never was a pirate more daring than he. Oh, how Johnny loved the sea. Oh, he, you can't catch me, I'm Johnny Kincaid of the deep blue sea. Hey, hey, he, you can't catch me, I'm Johnny Kincaid of the deep blue sea. One time the pirates came ashore, and Johnny walked through the tavern door. They worked a waitress, sweet Suzanne, wanted Johnny to be her man. The first mate told him, Johnny, beware. These women might play, but they don't play fair. But Johnny wasn't looking for advice. He'd seen Suzanne and she was nice. Hey, hey, he, you can't catch me, I'm Johnny Kincaid of the deep blue sea. Hey, hey, he, you can't catch me, I'm Johnny Kincaid of the deep blue sea. Suzanne came over, gave him a smile, said, hey there, Johnny, gonna stay a while. She sat him down and began to coo. Before he knew it, Johnny was through. The first mate, he just shook his head. Oh, Johnny hadn't heard a word he said. The crew said, Johnny, we'll miss the tide. But 5 days on, he had a bride. Hey, hey, he, you can't catch me, I'm Johnny Kincaid of the deep blue sea. Hey, hey, he, you can't catch me, I'm Johnny Kincaid of the deep blue sea. Well, Johnny Kincaid was a pirate bold who sailed the seas in search of gold. Now he's got a wife and son, a crackling fire when day is done. Still some evenings when he's free, he'll climb a hill looking over the sea, and under his breath he'll breathe a sigh and sing the shanty with a glistening eye. Hey, hey, he, you can't catch me, I'm Johnny Kincaid of the deep blue sea. Hey, hey, he, you can't catch me, I'm Johnny Kincaid of the deep blue sea. Thank you. Y'all are collectively the third person to hear that. So, back in the mid-'70s, I had a friend, John Dupree, undergraduate at Vanderbilt, and he gave me a sheet with some words on it about Johnny Kincaid. He just made it up out of his head. And from the sheet that I've got, I found in a pile at home 3 months back. Apparently I did something with it at the time, but I never liked it very much. So it never made it into the repertoire, but I found it and reworked it extensively. So, Johnny Kincaid. Turns out Johnny Kincaid was a historical figure, but he wasn't a pirate. He was an officer in the British Rifles in Napoleonic Wars. And apparently he was the inspiration for Bernard Cornwell's Richard Sharp, Sharp's Rifles. By the White Will Smith. If dirt were gold and I could buy your heart, then I'd dig it all to Mexico. In fact, I'd do most anything if I could only be your beau. Hey, diddle, diddle, the cat and the fiddle, and the moonlight in your eyes drives me wild. Oh, how happy it would be if you were a chicken and I were a duck, and every morning at the break of day, well, I could quack and you could cluck. That's the last verse. All right. Sometimes you just have to start over. Dirt were gold and I could buy your heart, then I'd dig up all of Mexico. In fact, I'd do most anything if I could only be your beau. Hey, diddle, diddle, the cat and the fiddle, and the moonlight in your eyes drives me wild. Well, maybe someday you'll be a jet set smash and I'll be a beggar in the street. Would you pass me by in your dress so fine, or would you donate a donut for me to eat? Mary, Mary, quite contrary, won't you let me be your loving man? Maybe it's just a crazy dream I'm having that makes me feel like somersaulting in the sun. When you smile, I get the shivers across my heart, you're the only one. If I had a hammer and a bunch of nails, then I'd build us a house up in a tree. And I'd be Tarzan and you'd be Jane, but don't you go and cheat on me. Lions and tigers and grizzly bears couldn't keep me from being there with you. And oh, how happy it would be if you were a chicken and I were a duck. Every morning at the break of day, well, I could quack and you could cluck. Little boy blue, come blow his horn. Well, I'd rather be behind the barn kissing you. Maybe it's just a crazy dream I'm having that makes me feel like somersaulting in the sun. When you smile, I get the shivers. Cross my heart, you're the only one. If dirt were gold and I could buy your heart, then I'd dig up all of Mexico. In fact, I'd do most anything if I could only be your beau. Ding dong, the witch is dead, so let the word be spread that I love you. Thank you. Saturday summers when I was a kid, we'd run to the schoolyard, and here's what we did. We'd pick out the captains and choose up the teams. Was always a measure of my self-esteem, 'cause the fastest and strongest played shortstop and first. The last ones they choose were the worst. I never bothered to ask, it was sealed. I just took up my place in right field. Playing right field is easy, you know. Well, you can be awkward and you can be slow. That's why I'm here in right field, just watching the dandelions grow. Playing right field is lonely and dull, 'cause little leagues never have lefties that pull. I dream of the day they'd hit one my way. They never did, but still I would pray that I'd make a fantastic catch on the run and not lose the ball in the sun. And then I'd awake from my long reverie and pray the ball never came out to me. Playing right field is easy, you know, if you can be awkward and you can be slow. That's why I'm here in right field, just watching the dandelions grow. Off in the distance, the game's dragging on. There's strikes on the batter and some runners are on. I don't know the inning, I've forgotten the score. The home team is yelling, I don't know what for. Then suddenly everyone's looking at me. My mind has been wondering, what could it be? They point to the sky, and I look up above, and a baseball falls into my glove. Playing right field, it's important, you know. You gotta know how to catch and know how to throw. That's why I'm here in right field, just watching the dandelions grow. That's why I'm here in right field, just watching the dandelions grow. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. We love having you come back, and I've always appreciated working with you. Join me one more time in thanking Jon Neergaard. So the last part, before I have a few reminders, will be Mr. Mark Tipps, who's going to come up now and recognize, I think, 6 of our seniors. So, Mark.
Thanks, Brad. Welcome. Back in February, when they have National Signing Day, we had a ceremony where we recognized some boys who had committed to play sports in college. We recognized Jack Anderson, who's playing baseball at Princeton, and Micah Battle, who's playing football at Rhodes, Ty Chandler, who's playing football at Tennessee, George Harwell, who's playing tennis at Vanderbilt, Gabe Mendoza, who's playing lacrosse at Sewanee, and Montgomery Owen, who's playing football at Washington and Lee. Since that time, we've had a handful of other boys who've made commitments to play sports in college, and today we want to recognize them. So guys, I'm going to call your name and call out the sport and the school. When I do, if you would come forward with your parents and stand behind your cake, and then Mr. Norton or some others will take some pictures of your family. Before I do that, though, I want to ask each of you to do 3 things when you get to school. I'm really proud that you're going to play sports. I think you're going to find it's a great way to go to college. It's a great way to meet new friends, and it's a great way to make lasting memories. I want you to do 3 things for me. When you get there, work hard in the sport that you've chosen. Don't let yourself become an old man and look back and think what you might have done if you had applied yourself. Work hard. Secondly, be great teammates. Nothing is more important about playing sports than learning to be part of something bigger than you. So be great teammates. And third, work even harder on your schoolwork, because in the end, that's what's going to take you places. Okay? So without further ado, we'll go alphabetically. First is Hudson Dobbs. Hudson is a swimmer, done extremely well here at NBA, and he will be continuing his swimming career at the University of Arizona. While they're taking those pictures, I'll name off some of the others. You can come up slowly. Next is Andrew Duffy. Andrew has been a stalwart on our soccer team, had a tough loss in the state championship here last week, and he will continue his soccer career at Birmingham Southern University. Next is Turner Johnson, who spoke a little bit earlier. Turner is a left-handed pitcher. If you notice, when he was up here, his hat was crooked. It's because all left-handed pitchers have their hats on crooked. They can't put them on straight. But he was a stalwart for us several times on the mound this spring. He'll be continuing his baseball career at Ohio Wesleyan University up in Ohio. Next is Will Peters. Will has been a standout in track and cross country for several years here, a real leader on campus. He's had some injury of late, but Will is going to continue his track and cross country career at Boston College, and I know he will do great things up there. Will Peters. Next is William Porter. William was a standout on the soccer team, and he will be continuing his soccer career at Sewanee, place near and dear to Mr. Joya's heart. William Porter. That's a good-looking tie. I like that, yeah. And last but not least is Brett Starr, one of our football captains. Was injured a good part of the spring with shoulder surgery, missed his baseball season. We missed having him. but he's better now, and Brett is going to continue his football career at Vanderbilt. Brett Starr. If you would, just join me in congratulating all of these boys.
So they'll share some cake with any of you who are interested in just a few moments. My reminders. Please see our chairs about the flower arrangements if you're interested in purchasing them for $10 a piece. Please remember to pick up your 3 gifts: the picture frame, the MBA mug, and the last is a copy of the letter that you wrote when you entered MBA. And lastly, I just want to say thank you to both the mothers and the senior class. So many of you here, you mothers, have been part and an important part of the MBA community. You've helped us immeasurably, whether it is at events or supporting the school through your own fashion of being an MBA supporter. I am grateful to you. And I hope that just as your sons have this community in their lives forever, you will feel part of this community and be back remembering this time here. So thank you for being at this lunch. We're going to have 2 great nights of celebration. I look forward to being part of that celebration with all of you. Have a great day.